So the lineup is complete for the 2025 Premier League. A couple of champions return, including the man on top from 2024, Luke Littler, former world champions Michael van Gerwen and Luke Humphries, and a couple of new names who we will reveal in the coming minutes. We kick things off with the man at the top of the rankings, the 2024 PDC World Darts champion, Luke Humphries, who will be back for another shot at the Premier League, and believe it or not, just his second shot at the Premier League of darts. Of course, he didn't retain his PDC World Championship this year, but remains at the top of the PDC Order of Merit in the #1 spot, with a couple of players hot on his heels. 2024 did prove a profitable year, though, for Cool Hand Luke, as he captured the World Match Play title, along with the Players' Championship finals in November and the World Cup of Darts, alongside Michael Smith. Also, there were final appearances in the UK Open and World Grand Prix, along with a good first stint in the Premier League, where he made the final alongside Luke Littler. He'll be back for another shot in 2025. Another sure inclusion is Luke Littler, the reigning Premier League champion from 2024 and two-time World Championship finalist, going on and making it a win in 2025 at Alexandra Palace, defeating Michael van Gerwen in the final. There's absolutely no way that Luke Littler can be left out of the Premier League lineup, and that's in part thanks to 3 tournament wins on the PDC Tour in 2024. At the Grand Slam of Darts in November in Wolverhampton, of course the Premier League, which he sealed at the O2 in May, and the World Series of Darts finals, which he captured early in the year around September time over in the Netherlands. He did have early exits in the World Match Play, World Grand Prix and European Championships, but has done more than enough to capture another place in the Premier League, and will be looking to defend his title when it all kicks off in February. The third man in the lineup is PDC World Championship finalist for 2025, Michael van Gerwen. A prolific winner in the Premier League over his years and a 3-time world champion, we simply cannot leave out Michael van Gerwen. It's not been his best year in 2024, a final at the World Match Play and a final in the PDC World Championship, backed up by a few poor results by the Dutchman's high standards. Just the 4th round at the UK Open, a World Grand Prix exit in the opening round, and not getting out of his group in the Grand Slam of Darts. But he does seem to be finding that form of 2013 to 2017 at the right moments, getting better with every round went on at Alexandra Palace. And that's why once again we see Michael van Gerwen, the best Dutchman in the world and soon to be returning possibly to that world #1 spot. Maybe he can add another Premier League to his catalogue of victories. The fourth man in our lineup, and maybe a slightly controversial one to some, is Rob Cross. Now, traditionally, the top 4 in the PDC Order of Merit have all made the Premier League lineup. As far as I'm aware, that is completely unchanged. So Rob Cross does make the Premier League for 2025. And if you look at his stats for 2024, it's completely deserved. Of course, made a semi-final of the PDC World Championship over a year ago now in 2024, but has backed that up with quarterfinals in the UK Open, the World Match Play, the World Grand Prix and the Grand Slam of Darts, not forgetting also in the World Series of Darts finals. Been probably the most consistent year of Rob Cross's career. Of course, we've seen dotted around the victory in the PDC World Championship final for 2018, couple of European Championship wins and that World Match Play win as well. But consistency the key for Cross in 2024, and that sees him back in the Premier League. We next move to a PDC World Championship semi-finalist for 2025 and returning to the Premier League for the first time in a number of years. It's Stephen "The Bullet" Bunting. He's become one of the most popular players on the tour and with fans worldwide over the last couple of years, largely thanks to his TikTok and YouTube channel success. And we'll be seeing much more of Titanium on the big stages as he makes his Premier League return for 2025. Probably largely in part to his Masters win, which is now a year ago over in Milton Keynes, his first major title, of course, in the PDC, which is backed up by a big run at Alexandra Palace, making the semi-finals, only to be defeated by Luke Littler in that Final Four match. Without that, maybe he wouldn't have made this Final 8 lineup, but a couple of big runs, the popularity of the Bullet certainly makes him a shoo-in for this year's lineup, and that's where we see the return of the Bullet. Another semi-finalist in the PDC World Championship to make the Premier League lineup is that of Chris Dobey. Now, it's been a poor year for Hollywood on tour, several first-round exits in the big majors, including the European Championship, the World Grand Prix in the second round at the World Match Play, meant that he was far away from the conversation heading into the PDC World Championships. But a fantastic run that saw him reach the semi-finals, only bowing out to Michael van Gerwen at that stage, see him included back in the Premier League lineup. He was last in the tournament in 2023, where he finished 7th. Of course, he won that opening night after capturing the Masters title just a couple of weeks previous. And after the form of 2024, maybe we couldn't see him back in the Premier League. But some fantastic results at Alexandra Palace have meant that he is right in the mix for it and confirmed for the Premier League. We're reaching contentious ground now, and the 7th man involved in the 2025 Premier League of Darts will be Gwyn Price, the only Welshman to be involved in this year's Premier League, with Johnny Clayton not involved for the first time in a number of years. Gwyn Price, who's had a pretty poor 2024 by his own admission, was a quarter-finalist at this year's PDC World Championship, and that is probably the only sole reason why you can see him involved in this year's Premier League. He's still a big favourite. He still gets the crowd going, whether that be the cheers or the boos. But the results from 2024 will need to improve for the Iceman to have a good year on the Premier League circuit. He's finished bottom of the Premier League before, and the form will need to improve to make sure that doesn't happen again for the Iceman. And the final man to be involved in the 2025 Premier League is Nathan Aspel. A huge crowd favourite. He'll be joining the likes of Stephen Bunting, Luke Littler, and of course Luke Humphries, as well as the big crowd favourites on this year's Premier League journey. And that comes largely to the part that he made the quarterfinals of the 2025 PDC World Darts Championship. He did reach the semi-finals of the Masters in 2024, 5th round of the UK Open, but several early exits meant that he was out of the conversation really heading into Alexandra Palace. But a big run at Alexandra Palace where he only lost out to Luke Littler, as did a couple of the names on this list, mean he was right back in the conversation before it was announced this afternoon. So Nathan Aspel completing the Premier League lineup for 2025.